Good evening and welcome back to News 11. I'm Julia Skiba.
And I'm Kellyanne Hender.
So we have a lot of exciting stories to cover, so let's get started with your local news. The Western New York region was under a winter storm alert as heavy lake effect snow fell on Sunday night. More than 40 inches of snow was received before Sunday, with another couple feet on the way. The greatest accumulation of snow happened over the northern Chautauqua and southern Erie counties. Other counties in New York and neighboring states also received some snow, but only around a foot. The extreme weather led to low visibility and interstates being closed. As of this morning, Fredonia is under a winter storm watch from this evening into late Thursday night.
The village of Fredonia has seen a surge in small businesses recently, and thus has plenty to celebrate this Small Business Saturday. Fredonia Mayor Michael Ferguson has stated that 8 new businesses have opened. The White Inn Hotel and Restaurant has reopened at last after being remodeled for a number of years. Family Health Medical Offices have premiered a new office, and Beyond Support Network has also opened the doors to the public. Western Division Credit Union, located in the Dollar General Plaza, opened up, and Rival Nutrition offers healthy smoothies and shakes at 60 West Main Street. Fans of the popular Mexican restaurant Taqueria Mexicana in Dunkirk will be happy to know that there is now a Fredonia branch as well. The mayor also wanted to remind everyone of Brooks TLC plans a new hospital on East Main Street, and Monster Beach Brewery will be taking over the EBC West restaurant in January.
A woman traveling to a heart transplant at Cleveland Clinic was assisted by New York State Police after becoming stranded on Route 5 during the lake effect snowstorm on Friday. The 64-year-old traveling with her husband from Rochester had a battery-powered heart pump, and due to severe road conditions, they got stuck. The husband contacted a Cleveland Clinic nurse who alerted the state police. Troopers located them using a utility task vehicle and developed a plan to transport her. She was first taken to the Portland Fire Department, then to Westfield Memorial Hospital, and finally to Jamestown Airport. From there, she was flown to Cleveland Clinic for the transplant. During the storm, many selfless troopers assisted 110 disabled vehicles and responded to 79 property damage collisions and investigated 7 personal injury accidents in the southern western New York area.
In Cassadaga, New York, Santa will be making a visit later this week. Held at 5 p.m. this Saturday in Ames Common, Light Up Cassadaga is an annual holiday tradition for locals. These activities include Christmas caroling, a performance from the Valley Community Choir, as well as a visit from jolly old St. Nick. Santa Claus will be parading around in a fire truck. Across the street, the public library will be providing snacks and children's books. To keep you warm, hot chocolate will be available and fireplaces will be lit. The event is being raised by the Village of Cassadaga, Cassadaga Fire Department, the Park United Methodist Church, and Cassadaga Library. If you are in the area, it is definitely something worth seeing with the family.
The infamous local tree lighting at the Hamburg Fairgrounds kicks off this Friday. New this year, attendees can enjoy a holiday performance from OLV's Elementary Choir. Also available, there will be rides, eggnog samples, illuminated shows, food and drink, and visits with Santa. Full experience tickets are $33.90, while drive-through only tickets are $22.60. For more information about dates and prices, visit the Festival of Lights website.
For years, the holiday season kicked off in Buffalo with seeing the iconic window display at AM&A's department store. The animated figures depicting festive winter scenes were the centerpiece of a cherished holiday tradition. Father Leon J. Bernhardt, the pastor at St. Gregory, the Great recalls going to AM&A's in 1969 when he was just 4 years old. After AM&A's closed its doors in the late 1990s, many were wondering what happened to the beloved displays. These figurines were recently reignited in the home of St. Gregory's Christmas Craft Show. Visitors were able to get a glimpse at the figures this past weekend.
This past Saturday, the streets of Lancaster were lined for the annual Christmasville Fire Truck Parade. There were nearly 200 trucks involved in the parade. The Christmasville Fire Truck Parade started with just 19 trucks and has since grown to more than 200. Jerry Eisner, who helped make this event happen, said, quote, "Let's have a fire truck parade to promote Christmas, and fire trucks themed with Christmas lights, and it just grew from there," end quote. This most recent parade included trucks from 7 different countries.
This past Friday, Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen announced his engagement to actress Hailee Steinfeld. Allen took to Instagram to share the sweet moment with a caption saying, "The engagement happened on November 22nd. The two started dating in May of 2023 and are both incredibly successful in their respective fields. The pair has been receiving lots of love following the announcement, with many Buffalonians donning Steinfeld with the title, quote, Miss Mafia, end quote."
The Buffalo Niagara Convention Center held the 31st world's largest disco this past Saturday. The event is hosted by Canisius Fast Forward Charity, and all proceeds are donated to Camp Good Days and Special Times, a camp for children with cancer. This year's event sold out with 7,000 people attending in all variations of disco gear. Partygoers could dance from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. and had to be 21 or older to participate. Sister Sledge, featuring Kathy Sledge, also attended and performed their disco hit, We're Family.
This past week, Lockport, New York was thankful for one of its most special fields in town. Harley Field, privately owned and operated by George Davis, is a labor of love for Davis. He has had the field open for 25 years now and named it after his son, Harley, who was only 10 at the time. Davis has been driving by the abandoned field for years when he finally bought the property and began to map it himself. It is mapped after a Little League field and has an old-time feel to it that many cherish, as well as a scoreboard modeled after the Green Monster at Fenway Park. Players, coaches, parents, and community members all enjoy the space as a field to play on or hold events at. The dedication Davis puts into his field does not yield a profit for him. There is no fee to rent the field. It is run solely on donations that go right back into maintaining the diamond. Many families shared they have fond memories at Harley Field and also believe it has some magic in it that make their kids play better. And when we return, we will have your national stories. We'll be right back.
Every day,
millions of people
are connecting.
and even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an
to
effort.
get to know each other,
On a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
Mentor.
Actor.
it's time we take a step forward
it's time we take a step forward.
Come together.
and discover
How accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
you'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Make a plan today.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It was a Thanksgiving miracle for one family in California as they were able to reunite after 25 years apart. In August of 1999, a man in Lassen County went missing with little trace. In response, his family tried finding him, even creating a GoFundMe page to raise awareness. However, due to the lack of any clues to where he was, the case went silent for 25 years. Last May, an article was published in USA Today asking the public for help identifying a nonverbal patient in the hospital, all the way in Los Angeles. The man's sister was able to identify him before contacting the local police, who were able to confirm his identity using fingerprints. The man's identity has not been released publicly alongside the reason for going missing, but he has now been safely found and returned to his family.
On Thanksgiving, authorities in Colorado Springs were called to Monument Creek when a 4-year-old girl was attacked by a coyote. The girl and another child approached the coyote thinking it was a dog. The coyote then lunged at the girl and grabbed the back of her head, causing serious injuries. Luckily, the father of the girl stepped in and stopped the attack. The Colorado Parks and Wildlife, known as CPW, were informed of the attack after the girl was released from the hospital, which prompted an investigation and a hunt for the animal. Because it is not feasible to identify the coyote responsible, the agency said any coyote found near the area of attack will be, quote, lethally removed, end quote, and sent to a health lab to be examined for a human DNA and disease. This prompted the agency to remind everyone to not feed coyotes in order to keep them wild and urge residents to keep the animals away from their homes.
In one of the busiest travel weeks in the entire year, a woman managed to stow away on a flight from New York to Paris. She remains in France after causing a disturbance on her scheduled return flight to the United States. According to other passengers on the flight, she was reciting the Geneva Convention and was pleading to not be brought back to the United States. She continued to scream and refused restraint as crew members tried to de-escalate the situation. However, it is still unclear how she managed to get on the Delta airline flight to France in the first place. According to TSA from New York's JFK International Airport, she passed a security screening, identification verifications, and boarding status check, all without an actual boarding pass. The stowaway allegedly hid in one of the plane's bathrooms the entire flight. She was not carrying any prohibited items and was immediately escorted off the plane by French officials upon landing. Delta Airlines is working with law enforcement and conducting an investigation of their own into this serious security issue. The only information known about the woman is that she is between 55 and 60 years old and was traveling with a Russian passport. When she lands back in New York, she could face civil penalty from TSA and an arrest from New York authorities.
George Washington Carver, a scientist and inventor, filed 2 patents for creating paints and stains from Alabama's clay in 1925 and 1927. He discovered that iron-rich soil could react with potassium compounds and nitric acid to produce a vibrant blue pigment known as Prussian blue. However, Carver's paints pigments were never commercialized and were only seen around Tuskegee University where he taught. Over the past 3 years, Chicago artist and architect Amanda Williams has revived Carver's blue with the help of researchers. Williams has painted 2 historically significant African American structures in Prussian blue for the Prospect 6 Art Triennial in New Orleans. She plans to continue her research and associate Carver with the pigment he discovered. Williams said, quote, "I'm making sure that he's elevated into the conversation, even if it's a different way than he was approaching the idea of color and pigment. I find it very beautiful that despite his fame as a scientist, at his heart he was a painter and an artist, and so this research was equally important," end quote.
Just over a week ago, a truck carrying 44,000 pounds of chickpeas burst into flames while driving through Death Valley National Park. The truck was descending Daylight Pass in Mud Canyon Road when its brakes overheated and caused the truck to catch fire in the early morning. The truck driver was able to pull over once reaching flat terrain. There were no injuries reported from the incident. Commercial truck wrecks always raise concern about what materials might get released into the park. However, the stray chickpeas that weren't cleaned up will most likely not be a treat to native species living in the park.
4-year-old Noah Ruse enjoys 2 things, popsicles and SpongeBob. You can only imagine his excitement when he found out that there was something that combined these 2 passions of his, SpongeBob SquarePants popsicles. The only logical thing to happen was for Noah to order them. He ordered exactly 918 of them, all courtesy of his mother's Amazon Prime account. The best part? He neglected to tell her. Noah's mom, Jennifer Bryant, occasionally lets her son use her laptop. While she was busy in the other room, Noah was navigating his way through her Amazon Prime account. A few days later, 3 massive boxes, each weighing 70 pounds, were delivered to her sister's house. Noah had ordered 51 cases of SpongeBob popsicles, costing just under $2,619. Amazon wouldn't take the popsicles back since they came from a third-party vendor, and Jennifer had began stressing about how she was going to afford all of these popsicles. A friend of hers started a GoFundMe to try to help the family out. The GoFundMe paid off the popsicles within 24 hours, and donations just kept coming in. Jennifer plans to put the money away for Noah's education. And when we return, Jenna joins us for the first time with our sports update, and we'll have your first look at weather. We'll be right back.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Services list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down. Post office
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
We are now joined by Jenna, who will be giving us our weekly sports update. What's going on in sports, Jenna?
Thanks, Jules. In Fredonia's most recent hockey game, the Blue Devils fell 4-0 to Lake Forest. This matchup was a championship game of the Skidmore Thanksgiving Invitational. The Foresters scored 13 seconds into the game and would eventually take on a late empty netter. Fredonia could not get the offense going throughout the game. Goalie Jamison Kane had a total of 24 saves. Following the tournament, Ryan Bailey and Jamison Kane were named to the all-tournament team. The Blue Devils will play next on Friday at 7 p.m. against Plattsburgh. In more upsetting news, the Buffalo Sabres were defeated 5-4 by the Colorado Avalanche last night. Buffalo started strong and secured a 4-0 lead by the end of the first period. Colorado then went on to score 5 unanswered goals, eventually securing the victory. Sabres goals were scored by J.J. Peterka, Beck Malenstein, and 2 from Tage Thompson. Ukko Pekka-Luukkonen made 36 saves for the Sabres. The team plays next tomorrow night at home against the Winnipeg Jets at 7 p.m. Fortunately, though, there was something to celebrate with the Buffalo Bills' win over the San Francisco 49ers. The Bills came out on top with a score of 35-10. Buffalo touchdowns were scored by Ray Davis, James Cook, Matt Collins, and 2 from Josh Allen. Tyler Bass had 5 successful field goal attempts. In another iconic snow game, Buffalo secured their 5th straight title for the AFC East champions. The Buffalo Bills played this Sunday in California at 4:25 p.m. against the LA Rams.
So I heard that you went to a Sabres game recently. How was it?
Tell
me about
I was
it.
there yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday. I didn't realize that. How was it?
So I was there with my boyfriend, and because we wanted to get back, we left around the second period. That was when it was still 4-1. So you can imagine my surprise when I saw that.
Yeah.
It's something so uniquely to the Sabres. I don't know any other team that can get a loss like that.
That's sad too. When you think you're like, okay, I'm leaving on a win, and then you check it and it's not on a win. All right. Well, I'm glad you at least got to go for a little bit. It was a good time. We're now joined by Kellyanne for our weather forecast. What do you have for us, Kellyanne?
Thank you, guys. We've finally been getting a taste of that classic Western New York weather. Today, there was a high of 34 degrees with some clouds. We saw snow showers on and off all day as well. The temperature is expected to drop down to 28 degrees as we head into the later evening. Tomorrow will look pretty similar to today with a high of 34 degrees. We can expect snow showers in the morning and another cold night. We'll see if that snow continues when Jenna returns for your weekend weather. Back to you guys.
Thank you. So when we return, we will have our international headlines. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. these stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Syrian and Russian forces have stepped up their attacks on opposition forces in northern Syria. The offensive forces took control of the country's second largest city, Aleppo. There has been little resistance on the ground, leading to the capture of military bases and provinces. Syria's most important allies, Iran and Russia, are currently in their own conflicts and not offering much aid. As of the beginning of December, at least 44 civilians have been killed, 162 injured, and 48,500 displaced. The oppositional force is a newly formed rebel group who have named themselves the Military Operations Command. The United Nations has urged all parties involved to adhere to international law. The humanitarian coordinator for Syria expressed the people of Syria should not endure more suffering. The U.S. State Department urged for de-escalation. Strikes have been carried out near hospitals, neighborhoods, and universities, causing civilian casualties. Some have been by Russian forces with the intent to drive out rebel forces. This conflict is the resurgence of a long-lasting civil war in Syria that has killed over 300,000 people and displaced 6 million. Russia and Iran have voiced they will continue to give full support as best they can.
Actor Rupert Grint, famous for playing the role of Ronald Weasley in Harry Potter, is forced to pay $2.3 million in taxes. 13 years after the last Harry Potter film was released in theaters, the memorable ally to the boy who lived is fighting court cases over tax fraud. In 2019, the UK taxation agency investigated the actor and found Grint had wrongfully taken £4.5 million, or $5.7 million US. Reporters say that Grint classified money from movie revenue, such as DVD sales, as assets rather than income. Lawyers attempted to appeal, but they were only able to delay the process. While he is still in the entertainment industry, a majority of Grint's revenue still comes from the 8 Harry Potter movies he was in. The films were released between 2001 and 2011 and is estimated to have earned the actor $30 million.
An Australian woman was forced to pull over after finding a deadly tiger snake at her feet while driving 50 miles per hour. The tiger snake is one of the world's most venomous serpents and was slithering right up the woman's leg. Police said, quote, remarkably, she was able to find the snake off and weave through traffic before pulling over and leaping out of her car to safety, end quote. Tim Nanayinga of Melbourne Snake Control was called to the scene to capture and relocate the snake. Nanayinga said, quote, it's a miracle how she got off the road and safely parked the car, end quote. Snakes usually find a small hole to stay in for days when they find themselves inside a car. Luckily, this one had moved to the back of the car. Experts say that the recent tropical weather in Melbourne has been causing snakes to come out of creeks and riverbeds. And after the break, a look at Thanksgiving blockbusters, a drummer from My Chemical Romance, and Meghan Trainor's recent cosmetic procedures. We'll be right back.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. All you do is sigh. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Services list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down. Post office
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
The recent break from everyday life this past week allowed Americans to head to the movie theaters to check out Moana 2, Wicked, and Gladiator 2. The blockbusters that led the 5-day opening weekend record of $420 million, which is soared past 2018's record of $315.6 million. Moana 2 has set the record for the highest grossing 5-day opening, surpassing the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Having 3 massive films hitting the big screen around the same time seems to be drawing in even more people than expected. Wicked has grossed $262.4 million, and Gladiator 2 has grossed $111.2 million. These 3 films are expected to have long lifespans in theaters and draw attention for weeks to come.
Bob Breyer, the drummer for the rock band known as My Chemical Romance, has died at the age of 44. The news was confirmed when a spokesperson for My Chemical Romance shared the following statement, quote, "The band asks for your patience and understanding as they process the news of Bob's passing," end quote. No cause of death or further information has been shared. While the band is planning a tour for next year, Breyer was reportedly not involved in the band's most recent iteration.
Meghan Trainor is opening up about her regrets regarding cosmetic procedures. In an episode of her podcast, Workin' On It, with Meghan Trainor and Ryan Trainor, she revealed that she had received too much Botox, which resulted in the inability to smile. The All About That bass singer also admitted to getting filler on her upper lip, a decision she now regrets. She explains how the Botox affected her facial expressions, leading to frustration. On the podcast, Meghan also talked about her plans for breast augmentation after the birth of her 2 children. She concluded by advising listeners, don't try everything, reflecting on her own experiences. So, I wanted to talk about Wicked a little bit because it's been all over my social media at least, and I know you saw it. What
I
did you think of it?
downloaded Threads just to look at the things that people were talking about on it.
That is awesome.
I had never actually seen the musical.
Okay.
And I went and saw it with my mom, and she had seen it, but she forgot the ending. So she was predicting everything that was supposed to happen in the second act, which was correct, which she already knew. I don't know. It was good. I had popcorn. It was good. I had fun.
Awesome.
It was pretty
I'll
good.
have to go see it before it leaves theaters. I think it'll be there for a little bit.
It's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we're gonna toss it to Jenna for the end of the weekend weather. How's it look, Jenna?
Thanks, Killian. Friday will still be chilly with a high of 31 degrees and snow expecting to start later in the day. Saturday will be pretty similar and there will be a high of 33 degrees. We can expect, as you guessed it, more snow throughout the day, and we'll finally get a break from all that shoveling on Sunday when it warms up to 46 degrees. There may be light rain expected at night as the temperature cools down to 41 degrees. That's all I have for you guys this week. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Jenna. That does it for News 11. Thank you to our behind-the-scenes crew, and we'll see you next semester.
As always, thank you to everyone watching at home, and have a great night.